In 2 days' time, we will be taking to the skies once again and playing Quidditch with Quidditch Champions. But today, we are not focusing on Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, no. Just like the book, Quidditch Through the Ages, we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane, looking back at the history of Quidditch in Harry Potter games, starting from the very beginning in the PS1 days, all the way up to the horrendous mess that is Harry Potter Kinect. We'll be looking at Quidditch in each game, and if it was there, if it wasn't, talk about it, explain it. Was it fun? Was it good? Was it an on-rails snorefest? All of that will be discussed in today's video as we go down that memory lane back in 2001 all the way up to 2012. It won't be including the mobile games because I do know it is in Hogwarts Mystery, but I'm going to leave that out. It's just sort of the console PC games we will be looking at. I do want to know your guys' thoughts on Quidditch in these games. Obviously, going into Quidditch Champions, will you be playing it? Are you excited? What was your favourite variation of Quidditch throughout these years? All that, just leave your comments and thoughts down below, but we'll be cracking on in as we go back to 2001 and start looking at the PC version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So, as you'd expect, we are starting with the first story of Harry Potter, the first game, movie, book, Philosopher's Stone. It's not Sorcerers, guys, it's Philosophers. He was a philosopher. But we're not focusing on the story, we're focusing on Quidditch. And it did appear in most of the variations of this game. There was a PC port, there was a PS1 game, there was a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Advance. The only game not to have Quidditch was the Game Boy Color. All 3 other versions did. And we're going to be starting with the PC game. So in the PC game, you'll play 2 games of Quidditch, one against Ravenclaw, one against Hufflepuff. You'll actually play against Slytherin, bit weird. Maybe we're going to have a bonus ending, as we'll get into, like the PS1. But in this game, it can last between 2 seconds and 2 minutes, depending on how good you are. You'll be seeing footage from my walkthrough of the game back at the end of last year and maybe a bit of this year. It does go quite quick. So in this one, you've got quite a bit of freedom. You can go quite fast. You can go where you want, but you are a seeker and you are following the golden snitch and you're going to be trying to catch it, fly through rings before getting on the tail, and it will then ask you to hit spacebar along the bottom when the snitch nears your hand. And like I say, my game against Hufflepuff in the first Quidditch game, it didn't last very long. Enjoy. Oh, Harry, go!
Stay with it, Harry!
Game over. What, 14 seconds?
Potter's done it!
That is pathetic. It is just a mess. Like, it is way too easy. It's just over in 14 seconds. Like, I could, if I wanted to, I could beat, yes, I know what your name is. No one cares what your name is, Lee. It's all about me, the sneaker of Gryffindor, the winner of the game. But no, 250. So yeah, I could beat Roderick Plumpton's record if I really wanted to. So we're now moving on to the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PlayStation 1. Again, it's a bit of a different game. They follow the story quite similarly, but they do have different game mechanics and of course different graphics. And we will be playing as Hagrid PS1 in Quidditch Champions, which I just think is absolutely brilliant and amazing. But in this game, it's not as good as the PC version. You do have 3 games. If you get all 17 cards, you have a bonus ending where you play Slytherin in a Quidditch game. But in this one, you fly at the speed of a snail or a grandma on a mobility scooter. It's not as epic or as fun as the PC version or as frantic. You have 3 stages where you will fly through different colour rings, starting with yellow, then blue, then into red, and each time you get closer and closer to the snitch, it is basically, once you've flown through enough rings, it will then enact the same sort of snitch capture mini game that you see in the PC game where you'll hit X when the snitch is near the hand. Again, it's a bit slow, it's a bit monotonous, it's just flying through rings. It doesn't feel like you're actually playing Quidditch rather than just on an obstacle course through rings before it's like, yeah, you can catch the snitch. But for a first time out, it was good. You know, it has Quidditch, it's fun. But when you watch the clips here, it's no speed whatsoever.
Oh, that was close! Potter's going for it! Potter has the snitch!
And finally, on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the Game Boy Advance, it does have a similar mechanic to the PS1 game where you'll be trying to fly through rings. It's a bit of a top-down experience. But for a Game Boy Advance game, it handles it pretty well. I think it's, solid for that console. Is it as fun as the PC or even the PS1? No, because it's a bit more annoying, it's a bit more tedious, but it's there, you have it. They try and copy the PS1 sort of style quite well, where you just fly through rings and you get to catch the snitch again. This is not my footage because I've actually not played the Philosopher's Stone and Game Boy Advance for almost, going 20 years now when I first got my Game Boy back in 2004. So it's been a very long time since I've played this one, but watching the footage I do remember it, and it's there, and it's good that it is there because of course the Game Boy Color just didn't try to implement it all. It does have flyer section in that game, but no Quidditch unfortunately. Moving into 2002, and the Chamber of Secrets came out, and again, 4 different versions. This time, 3 had Quidditch again. That being the PS2, Xbox, GameCube version, which pretty much the same, but a few differences. The PC and the PS1. We will start with the PC version because it did something very interesting. It tore away the model that Philosopher's Stone PC had, where it was free flowing, you just flow through the rings, it could take a few seconds. Instead, this time, you do have a Quidditch League where you can play each team twice, and you will then lift the Quidditch Cup if you win all 6 of the games. But the actual way you play Quidditch in this one is very weird. Again, you were just the Seeker in Harry, but you are just there to kick the crap out of the person you are fighting against, so be it Malfoy or the Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw Seeker. It's not actually Cho Chang or Cedric Diggory at this point. So, you just kick using the spacebar or the right mouse button, whichever you've assigned it to, which then renders them useless, and you then have to then fly towards the snitch, building up your sort of Seeker map before you're ready to catch it. But the main focus is just getting the other Seeker away. They can also kick you to put you down, but it is quite easy, and it's just weird that they went for this sort of like on rails, beat them up sort of Quidditch style game. It won't be the last time we actually see this, interestingly enough. I'll be on that later. So, a bit disappointing that one. It's not the best form of
Here comes the Ravenclaw Seeker.
beat the shit over her.
What are you, Red? Under a spell?
What, you were kicking me. Don't blame the ref. You started it.
This is amazing.
It's 90-0. You've still not scored. Like, it's stupid how bad our chasers are. And there we have it. It returns in PS1 just for one game. It is the Road Bludger scene. It is faster than it is in the PS1 Philosopher's Stone game, which is good. They sort of merge 2 forms together. So in the Philosopher's Stone PS1 game, you have this thing where you fight Malfoy when he steals some Devil's Remembrall, and you just got to sort of hit him repeatedly using square. So the first half of the game, it has that. The second half of the game, it is you just flying through rings, like in the last game, before going to catch the snitch. And it, like I say, it is faster and feels much better now, but there's a snitch. The way you catch the snitch is different. It has this sort of like hand you move around trying to catch it in this first person sort of view, and you have to like lean over and try and catch it. It can be a bit difficult, and the hand does feel weird to move, but overall I actually think it's the best form of Quidditch in chamber out of the PC and PS1. We're getting on to the best one, that's for PS2 in a second. But on the Game Boy Advance, they have a third-person view now. You still fly through glittering, beautiful rings, and you still catch the snitch with a bar at the top like you did in the PS1 Philosopher's and Game Boy and the PC version. But it's now not top-down, it is a third-person view, and it can be quite fun. The music's cool, it's got that Game Boy charm. Chamber of Secrets on the PS2, Xbox, GameCube has brilliant Quidditch. It's actually probably the best Quidditch outside Quidditch World Cup. So you again just play as Harry as a seeker and you fly through rings, but the way you build up momentum is through boosting, and if you fly through enough rings, you get a little tail of light, and this means you can boost and you go extra fast, and you've got to be careful that you don't bump into objects or fall down like Harry can do. If you're not careful, you just fly straight at the rings. The better you do, the faster you catch the snitch, and I think the flying mechanics in this game are the best out of any Harry Potter game excluding Quidditch World Cup and hopefully Quidditch Champions. So it's a really fun Quidditch league. You play each team, just for once, and you can then go on to win the Quidditch Cup, which Dumbledore awards you. But you can lose if you don't catch the snitch. It does give you an option to try again if you want, but I've never lost. I did it once to see what it was like. So that's 2002 Chamber of Secrets. We'll now go moving to 2003, where there was 2 surprise releases that year from EA. Okay, you're in front. Oh no, you don't. Wait, if I'm in boosting range, he's in boosting range. Why is he not boosting? Maybe he should boost. That kind of boosting a 1. What a moron. That was closer than I thought it was going to be though. But there we go. So there was no Harry Potter movie out in 2003, as Prisoner of Azkaban got pushed back a year to 2004. So EA did something very fun. They released 2 games. A Philosopher's Stone remake for the Xbox, PS2 and GameCube, which did have Quidditch. You only play the one game, and it's the Jinx broom scene from the film, where Quirrell jinxes the broom, and that does have an impact on the game of Quidditch. It feels like a lazier version of the Quidditch you had in Chamber. Gone is the boost. You just fly through rings, and sometimes your broom will bounce up and down because it's been jinxed, and you don't actually catch the snitch yourself. It is the cutscene where Harry stands up just like in the film. So overall it's just like a flying class, but the broom does feel a lot faster and more nimble in Philosopher's Stone, but the Quidditch is much better in Chamber of Secrets that was brought out a year before. I don't know why they changed it really, maybe just to fit in the Jinx broom scene. But we also got what people consider one of the best Harry Potter games, if not the best, in Quidditch World Cup. This game was a mammoth game to come out, where you weren't just playing as Harry the Seeker anymore. You got to pick one of the 4 Hogwarts houses, so you could play as Draco Malfoy, Cho Chang, Cedric Diggory. You played for the Chasers, where you can pass the ball using X, score goals. You played for Beaters at times, you played for Seeker, you played for the whole team, and it was a really, really fun game. And we're going to look at the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, PC version and the Game Boy version, because they are slightly different, of course. So the console version, you pick your team, you go through little trials to learn the positions of Chaser, you learn the special moves, you learn the Beater, and then you learn the Seeker. So through a game, you play as the Chasers, and you can unlock special abilities to use the Beaters, and you try and score as many goals as you can. You can build up combos and fancy little goals and have special moves. And then there's a snitch bar at the top, and when that joins together, that means it's time to be the Seeker. And the Seeker is actually the worst part of this game. I prefer the Seeking in the actual movie titles compared to this one. Instead of rings, you now surfing almost on a golden tail of the snitch, and depending on your boost bar, depends how many goals you've scored, depends how fast you'll get to the snitch and capture it. You just press a simple X to catch it, no mini game or anything like that, as we've seen in previous games. And yes, you then don't just stop at Hogwarts. No, you can play at the actual Quidditch World Cup, hence the name. You can then choose teams like England, Germany, Nordic, Spain, Japan, USA, Australia, etc, to compete in the Quidditch World Cup, where you play each team twice, so you'll end up playing 16 games. And again, it's just a similar formula where you play as the Quaffle, you play as the Chasers, score with the Quaffle until it's like, yep, catch the snitch. It can become a bit monotonous if you're playing by yourself. Playing with friends is probably really fun in this game, and that's why I'm looking forward to Quidditch Champions with its online mode, because offline sometimes the AI just isn't that smart and you can just win every game like 400-0. So yeah, let's have a look at the Game Boy Advance version. The Game Boy edition of Quidditch World Cup is surprisingly similar for the complexity of that game on the consoles. Instead of it being third person, it's now horizontal at the side, and a lot of the mechanics are still there though, including the passing, the scoring, the beaters, so a lot of the special moves are still present, and it is a very good Game Boy game. The Quidditch even gets ported over for future ported titles for handheld consoles, so that proves how good it is. When catching the snitch, it's sort of like a third person behind the camera, behind the seeker, as you again surf the golden tail to try and catch the snitch, and has the same features Hogwarts to Quidditch World Cup. Again, very good game, good Quidditch. Hopefully Quidditch Champions will be beating it though, because we're 20 years on now. Come on. So, Prisoner of Azkaban, weirdly enough, does not have Quidditch in its games. For whatever reason, they just thought, no, they show it in cutscenes, which is even more infuriating, so you get to watch Harry play Quidditch, you just don't play it yourself. So, obviously, Goblet of Fire doesn't have Quidditch because it was cancelled for the Triwizard Tournament, so that game gets a pass, I guess, but it's still a terrible game. Didn't get a pass for that. Moving into Order of the Phoenix, of course, if you're familiar with Harry's story, it doesn't go too well for him in Order of the Phoenix, the book. He gets suspended after his first game at Slytherin because he beats up Malfoy, and Umbridge bans him, Fred and George. So, in the actual console game, they don't have it at all. They do have mentions of it about Ron being the keeper, and you hear the little song about Weasley's our king, but the DS version of this game actually has Quidditch in it. And again, as I said just then, it ports over the Quidditch World Cup style Quidditch where you play for chases, you pass around, score the goals, and it has the same camera angle, the same sort of graphics. So they do port it over, and you don't actually play as Harry, you play as the chasers and things like that. So props on them for including it in Chamber of Order of the Phoenix DS. On to Half-Blood Prince. This was a big marketing thing. Quidditch returns for the first time on the console since Chamber of Secrets, or Philosopher's Stone, because it was made after. You know what I mean. And I was so excited to play it. But the console and PC versions, it is an on-rail snooze fest where you fly through stars, you just move up and down, left and right, you're fixed in, it goes the way the snitch goes, and you're just meant there to fly through the middle of the stars until Harry's like, oh Ginny, yeah, I've got it now, and just catch the snitch. It is an on-rail snooze fest that is just rather very boring. I'm just not a fan of at all. And then the DS version again has two types of Quidditch. So it's like a Quidditch minigame where you play as Rump as the keeper, and you've got to try and stop loads of quaffles coming in, guarding the 3 hoops. And then you have a Quidditch match quite similar to Order of the Phoenix, where they use the sort of Quidditch World Cup style game mode, but it looks a bit worse, and it even feels a bit worse compared to how it was in Order and even in Quidditch World Cup. I don't know why they tried to, how they made it worse, but they somehow did, so well done EA for doing that once again. And of course, Harry is on the run in Death or Hallows Part 1 and 2, and unsurprisingly, doesn't have time for a Quidditch match, so that is the last time we saw Quidditch matches in a main title Harry Potter game. The Lego games did not have Quidditch either, but we did get Quidditch for Harry Potter for Kinect, and I sort of wish we didn't, but there we go. You play Harry's first match in Philosopher's Stone, where you can punch Malfoy, not Malfoy, the Seeker, Higgins, for this one. And again, like I said, it brings back the Chamber of Secrets PC style, where you actually move your arms to knock out the Seeker before trying to keep on to catch the snitch. You also get to play as Ron in Half-Blood Prince, where there are a million quaffles just being thrown at you. Like, I don't know if these guys know the rules of Quidditch, but there's one quaffle, not hundreds just coming at you all at once in the snow, and you've just got to put your arms out to keep them out of the goalposts. And that is the last time we saw Quidditch, because there was no Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy, which caused a bit of an uproar. But coming out September 3rd, which is 2 days from now, we will be playing Quidditch Champions on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. The Switch comes later, and we will be able to have a jolly old time playing in whatever position you want, online or offline, with your friends or solo. And I am for one excited to finally get my hands taped to the skies and be the best keeper anyone has seen. Better than you, Oliver Wood, and definitely better than that Weasley King. You can't save a single thing. But there we go, guys. A history of Quidditch. Quite quick, hopefully, and quite fun, educational, and a brilliant look down at memory lane before we zoom off into the future and have ourselves a fun time on Quidditch Champions. What was your favourite mode Quidditch? Mine's still Chamber of Secrets PS2, obviously minus Quidditch World Cup. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for this new game? Will you be playing it? Anything you want to let me know, comment down below. I will be seeing you all soon for Quidditch Champions. It's almost here now. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, and just see you soon. Bye bye.